Welcome to the Idiot's Guide. I'm Mackie Hall, and today we're going to be talking about animating with Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Animate. For those of you who don't know, Adobe Animate is a powerhouse application designed for building interactive animations for video, games, and the web. With it, you can bring animation and banner ads to life, create avatars, and create animated and interactive infographics. You can also publish to multiple platforms on just about any format. That includes everything from an animated GIF to a high-end video format. Combine this with Adobe Illustrator, and you've got easy access to be truly creative. For this 8-part beginner tutorial, we're going to learn how to create this simple web tutorial using Illustrator and Animate. Here are the steps. Part 1, let's get started. Building Illustrator art, file setup, and importing. Part 2, create a looping animated symbol. Part 3, using motion tweens for basic animation. Part 4, adding stop actions. Part 5, creating buttons and button-based actions. Part 6, advanced buttons, basic button hover animation and linking to outside URLs. Part 7, publishing options for your web ad. Part 8, importing into an adaptive web page. This is part 5, creating buttons and button-based actions. And a quick note, if you're coming in at one of the latter stages of the tutorial, be sure you start at step 1. That's always going to be the most helpful, and that'll get you on the path to creativity the fastest. For this piece, we're offering an Illustrator file down below or in your Canvas page to get started. Let's go. All right, now that we've completed step 4, adding stop actions, we're going to move to step 5, creating buttons and button-based actions. Let's once again look at our storyboard and note that on panel 2 and panel 3, we've gotten buttons. We'll start with panel 2, where we've got the click here button that will take us over to panel 3. On panel 3, we've got 2 buttons. The first button, entitled Visit CDC Website, will take us to an external link. And then our second button will close panel 3 and take us back to panel 2. In this case, we're only going to be using buttons to influence the timeline, so we will not be addressing the Visit CDC Website button, which takes us again to an external link. All right, let's get started. All right, now that we've completed our stop animations, it's time to address our buttons, so let's get started with that. Right away, let's move to our second set of keyframes. That's at 1 second or frame number 24. We'll click right there and note that we've got our click here button on the button layer. So let's go ahead and make that a button right now. Here's how we do it. First thing we're going to do is click on click here, and then we're going to right click on it and select convert to symbol or F8. Once we've done that, we can rename our button to button 1. Note that I did not include a space. Animate does not like spaces on the symbol names. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the type of symbol we want. We'll click on that and note that we've got 3 different symbol types. The first is a movie clip, which is what we created to make our animated clouds. The second is a button, and the third is a graphic. Now we're not going to be creating a set graphic, so we're going to be selecting a button because that allows us to have actions associated with it. So we'll click on that, and then we'll click on OK. Note that if we look at our properties window, button is selected. We want to do one more thing before doing any more work, and that is we want to create an instance name. So we'll click directly beneath button and write again. Once we've created that, take a look at our properties window and notice that while our button is selected in object, we've got button selected and we've got instance of button 1. We need to do one more thing, and that is to create an instance name. In this case, we'll write the instance name again as button 1, although you can call it anything you want. We'll click off of it. And now we're ready to complete our first button-based action. All right, now that we've created our click here button, let's go ahead and create our action associated with that button. With that in mind, let's go ahead and go back to our actions layer, and we'll select the keyframe at frame number 24. Let's click on it and then right click and select Actions or press F9. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and select Add Using Wizard. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and set our action. The first thing we want to do is we want to select our action. Instead of stop like we did in our previous tutorial, we are going to select Go to Frame Number and Play. We'll click on that. Under Objects on which to apply this action, we'll select this timeline. Before we proceed, we're going to select the frame that we want to go to before we start playing. In this case, we want to move to the next frame, which will be frame number 25. Let's write 25. And let's click on Next. Under Step 2, let's go ahead and select a triggering event. In this case, it will be on mouse click. And then let's go ahead and select the object for the triggering event. Note that we're selecting button 1. That's the instance of the Click Here button that we created. So let's click on that and let's finish and add. Let's go ahead and close our Actions window. And let's test by selecting Control, Test, or Control Enter. Now note, when our animation pops up, it looks no different from the last time we tested. However, there is something new happening. Note that if we hover over our Click Here button, we recognize that there is a link there. Let's go ahead and click on it. Note straight away that it takes us to the next panel. It's exactly what we want. Let's go back to our animation. Now note that in the storyboard we created, we've got one more play action. In this case, if we move to frame number 48, we can see which one it is. Under our sign, we've got our close button. Let's go ahead and click on it. And note straight away that it belongs to the sign link close layer under our timeline. So like we did before, let's go ahead and create that as a symbol. Let's go ahead and right click on close and we'll select Convert to Symbol. You can also press F8 with our button selected. Let's rename this button Button Close. And let's click OK. Now that we've done that, with our close button still selected, note that under the Properties window, we've got button as the object type, and then we've got this listed as instance of button close. All we need to do now is let's write the instance name. Once again, we'll name our instance the same as the button. In this case, button close. Let's click off of it. And let's go ahead and apply our action. Once again, let's click on the Actions frame. And then let's right click on it and select Actions. Once we've done that, let's go ahead and select Add Using Wizard. What we're doing again is adding a new action using the wizard. Again, we're going to select Go to Frame Number and Play. We'll click on that, and then we'll select this timeline. Once we've done that, let's go ahead and add the frame that we want to go to and play. In this case, SimSort frame 48, we just want to go to the next frame and play. That will be frame number 49. Once we've done that, let's select Next. And then let's go ahead and select our triggering event. In this case, mouse click. And then let's select the object for the triggering event. Again, that is the instance of the button we created. It is button close. Let's click on that and let's finish and add. Let's go ahead and close our Actions window and let's test one more time. Now our animation comes up, and take a look at what happens now. Let's go ahead and again click on Click Here. That works. We just jumped into panel 3. And now let's select Close and see what it does. Note that it went ahead and played, but as you know, if we reach back to our last tutorial, we had a play action at the end of our animation. That sent us right back to the middle of panel 2. Looking good. Let's close our web window. All right, let's save our piece by hitting Control S or File Save. With this step, we are done. Now that you've completed step 5, proceed to the next step. All right, if you have any questions, comments, or critiques, leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, throw me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, subscribe. I'd appreciate that just a little bit more. We'll see you next time. See ya.